It's outpacing inflation by an incredibly large margin. So and pretty soon it'll be 1 Bitcoin to buy that same house, and then half a Bitcoin to buy that same house, because Bitcoin's going to $1 million, $5 million when priced in US dollars. Look at my life priced in Bitcoin. You know, I bought several properties. I'm living large here in El Salvador. Based on my cost basis for Bitcoin, the entire 24 months I've been here has cost me $7.50. The $7.50 that I used to buy Bitcoin, you know, back in 2011, now is worth, you know, millions of dollars. So it's actually cost me nothing. I'm living for free. I can buy shit for nothing. I can buy whole buildings for practically nothing, because my Bitcoin cost basis is, you know, under $10. You know, keep printing money. I don't give a shit, because you're just making my Bitcoin go higher. And that's going to be true for everybody. You're not too late to buy Bitcoin. You're buying it at $70,000 of Bitcoin. Well, it's going to 700,000. Meanwhile, your fiat money is going to zero. So if you own any fiat money, it's going to zero against Bitcoin. So you might as well just buy Bitcoin. Just suck it up and buy Bitcoin, because it's going higher. Now, is there volatility? Sure, there's volatility, but there's guaranteed increase in purchasing power over time. You can keep yourself in dollars and there won't be any volatility, and you're guaranteed to lose purchasing power. The choice is yours. You know, there's a big difference between a Bitcoin accumulator and a trader, a stock trader. Now, if I'm a stock trader, or if I was managing a portfolio of stocks, there is a general rule to sell your losers and buy your winners, keep adding to your winners. And this is generally not practiced by most people who trade stocks. Most people trade their winners to offset the fact that they have some losers. And this results in mediocre results over years, but nobody can seem to resist the temptation to sell their winners to pay off their losers, because the psychology of losing is a lot more damaging than the psychology of winning. Most people, when they have a winning stock or a winning bet, they have a bit of an endorphin rush, versus when they have a loss. It's generally an emotional event that some people get addicted to. Well, you see it at the basis of the casino industry is people addicted to losing money. And people who sometimes, as a stockbroker on Wall Street, you would meet a lot of people like that, who actually like to lose money. They feel guilty that they have money, and they come to you to seek their ability of you to take their money from them through the stock market losses that they can then justify as having had a legitimate possibility of making money, but they lost money, but they feel better because they cleansed themselves of that dirty money, right? There's a lot of psychology that goes on around money. But with Bitcoin, there is never a bad time to buy Bitcoin, and you would never sell Bitcoin, because it's not a trade. You're swapping worthless fiat shit for the perfect money. And it is money. It's the money that will be the basis of the future of the entire global economy. So there is no reason to sell it ever.
And I'll give a great personal example. So when I got into the Bitcoin space 5 years ago, I made the mistake of a lot of people, and people said, oh, buy these shit coins.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So it was a little over a year ago when the Bitcoin price was like at 19,000, and I still had some of these dumb shit coins. And you know what I did? I converted a lot of them to Bitcoin.
Right.
Because I went with what you're talking about. I said, so I'm at a loss right now, but eventually when converting them to Bitcoin, I will get this money back that I wasted on these dumb shit coins.
Totally.
I will get it back.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was like, and I was trying to, and some people were like, well, I go, no.
Yeah.
Over time, I know Bitcoin's going to 100,000, 200, 500. I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So whatever loss I had from this dumb shit coin, I will get that back and then some.
Yeah.
And I really, I mean, you and Stacy really helped me understand. And then listening to Michael Saylor, like,
yeah, of course.
Just keep buying, don't sell your Bitcoin. Obviously, if you're using Bitcoin like in a circular economy like here, that's fine to use a little bit of it, or you get paid in fiat, you convert it to Bitcoin to spend in a circular economy. But the bulk of it, stack that shit. That's what I've been doing. And now I don't feel, now that Bitcoin, of course, has made a year later, 14 months later, is hitting all-time highs.
Right.
I've got my money back from those dumb shit coins.
Right.
Because my Bitcoin has gone up.
Yeah, because your conviction goes up the more you know about it. The more you educate yourself. Michael Saylor is an excellent teacher and a guy who gives people great advice and great insight into Bitcoin. And your conviction goes up and you end up buying more. when your conviction is low and you don't really know much about it, you end up selling. These ETF buyers, for example, there's a lot of outflow from the ETFs. There were 9 ETFs that were approved. They attracted billions of dollars. And at the time I said, well, these are not Bitcoiners. These are people who got a call from their broker who said that, oh, by the way, there's something called Bitcoin. It's in an ETF now. Why don't you put $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into it? And so they put a few dollars into it without thinking about it. They know nothing about Bitcoin, and they don't know much about ETFs either. But it's on the desk and on the to-do list of 100,000 brokers and who are looking at their list of calls to make, and they simply slip it into people's accounts and they get a commission and they don't think much about it. But then the second that's down 5%, we had a 10 or 15% drawdown in Bitcoin.
Right.
So that triggered a lot of automatic sales. A lot of people would just have sell orders put underneath the price that they paid to get out 10% below. That's something traders do. That's something that stock investors would do. So they got stopped out, they got traded out, they got sold out. And then that creates more sell orders. And then you get a 15% down suddenly. And they're not in it because they understand it. They're just in it because it's the stock du jour. That's NVIDIA of its day. NVIDIA is the bubble of today. And so people buy it, and they're momentum traders, as they're called. And but they just dump it. So ETF buyers are going to be jerking themselves off with ETFs for 10, 20 years, and they'll probably never make any money on Bitcoin because they have no understanding of Bitcoin. They don't know why they own Bitcoin. They're just going to be momentum traders, up and down, sideways, doing commissions, being a jerk, and they don't know anything about it. So that's the situation with this ETF market. However, it is a large pool of money, so it does benefit Bitcoin in that they are bringing in a big pool of capital, but it's not going to mean the volatility is going to go away. There's still going to be a volatile asset. Yeah. And now that you have these stupid, dumb money retail investors in ETFs, that's going to not make the volatility go away. It's going to, the volatility is going to continue to be volatile. At a certain income level, happiness quotient disappears. You said 150,000. The last time I looked at those numbers, it was around 40,000. So obviously inflation has impacted the minimum happiness quotient on money. But the point is that the amount of money you have or the income that you have to cover basics and to do some stuff, once you achieve that, it's difficult to get happier with more money. And having been in the money management world myself for many years, most people with a lot of money have no idea even how much money they have. So if somebody has, let's say, 30 million or 35 million or 50 million, they literally have no idea what they actually have. Or they'll find an account with $20 million in it that they didn't know. This happens all the time. People die all the time and they find accounts with millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like most people with a lot of money, really, it's just stagnant somewhere and being ignored. And it's not really recycling in the economy at all. No one's doing anything with it because, as to your point, there's nothing really you can do it. You know, more money, more problems. Like when you start to spend money, when you start to invest money, it creates a paper trail. You need people to handle that paper trail. You need to hire accountants to handle that paper trail. And it gets more complicated. And you spend your day pushing paper. Like you have to if you have a lot of money, you're managing your money. It's like a full-time job. And, you know, the point of being wealthy is not to have a full-time job. But, so number one. Number two is, you attract a lot of attention from people who have a very strong opinion about the fact that you have a lot of money. Right. And so now you're kind of dealing with people in a way that's uncomfortable that you would prefer not to. You know, you'd prefer just to be kind of anonymous, really. You don't want to be just like constantly talking to people about the fact that you've got a lot of money. And therefore, why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? And these people are starving and this is happening here and this is going on. You should do stuff. You know, I think people should have the right to not do anything. You know, like nobody should be able to have to do anything if they don't want to do anything. I mean, that's the most environmentally sound thing you possibly could do. Mm-hmm. My carbon footprint could be zero if I'm just sitting on the beach doing nothing. My carbon footprint is zero. Okay, how about that? I'm going to help the ecology by doing nothing. How about that? I'm not going to get on a jet. I'm not going to take a meeting. I'm not going to fill out a form. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to do absolutely jack shit. I'm not going to do anything. My carbon footprint is zero, except for maybe, the bananas I'm eating might generate a little, excess carbon into the atmosphere.
The daiquiri carbon, the daiquiri carbon.
That's it. That's my contribution.